How did I start board games and why Cytress as a board game? Cytress is a cyberpunk board game that came from a desire to see a genre I love to become something that I would enjoy playing with my family and friends. I was quite familiar with the genre growing up, mainly through watching animes and TV, but I never really got into it, as I am now. Not until the time when Cyberpunk 2077 came into the picture. The way CD Projekt Red marketed the game was beyond amazing, and the concept had also reignited a spark for this genre which I never knew I had. In other words, the hype was real. Now, the idea to make a board game came to me when I was actually on a train home from work. I was on my phone, as you would, playing a few, retro arcade games here and there using an emulator at that time, trying to reminisce about the good old times of my early childhood in the arcade. I would occasionally revisit some of the games to remember what it was like playing as a kid, listening to the retro 8-bit soundtrack and being reminded of the different memories with friends and family that came along. On the day of February, someday in February 2018, a thought hit me. If we can bring arcade games into mobile, why has no one ever thought of turning these into board games yet? It was a strange question to ask at that moment because one, I instantly assumed that there were none, right? And two, that there were so many different types of arcade games, so which one should I be thinking of or start on? Soon, I started tinkering with different ideas, wondering how arcade games could be translated from from a digital medium to a physical one, such as a board game. It would always become the thing to do, on the train, as I had my notepad out, and ideas are being sketched out in different ways, and it was a blast. I never knew I had this passion for creating games, especially for game design, and solving problems and creating these thematic spectacles. Eventually, I became familiar with game design theory and understood what made games fun. And so I started to have visions of what kind of games, board games specifically, that I could create. The game that had once inspired me, gave me such joy. Now I felt like I needed to take that path, because I knew it was the right one to make. So yeah, that is essentially how I got into board game designing, and it's quite a bizarre story, but at the same time, I think that's a pretty standard experience of just having childhood experiences with your favorite games and just wanting to continue that and express your creativity, your own version, and that is how Cytress started. Thanks.